See, I'll explain all this stuff, this whole system of control to people, and they'll be like, oh, I never realized. And they'll say, yeah, and here's how to escape it. And they'll say, oh, but I don't feel like doing that. And then they go back to complaining about it. Well, now it's your fault. Now it's officially your fault. There you go. You can't blame anyone else. So let's talk about some of the details about this pyramid. You like to call it a patriarchy as if it's all men. I already went through that in the first video. The real issue is that it's a system for controlling the majority if you're a minority, controlling the people that are able to produce real value when the people at the top can't. So it's a system of exploitation. The solution is not communism. Got to let you know, a history nerd didn't come up with a good economic system. Sorry. Bunch of lit majors don't have a handle on how to run an economy properly. Sorry, guys. You're not qualified. So, the solution isn't communism. The solution isn't consensus. The solution is you have to stop giving them the specific forms of participation. And you have to stop allowing them to use their methods of control on you. After that, there's a lot of options. So I'm going to talk about those methods of control right now. This is in the essay. You just search my name, look for the article called Castle Made of Vampires with a Y, Vampyre. So I'm going to use terminology that I cooked it up based on the shirts that the guys were wearing in the video that I link in that essay. So there are the black shirts and the red shirts. And these are methods of auto-hypnosis. They are using hypnosis techniques to suggest things to you. Suggestion in hypnosis terminology means they're commanding you. That's how they make it sound nice. We're not commanding you, we're making a suggestion that you think is your own idea, just like Inception. It's the inception moment where you think it's your idea, but we fed it to you. And so the hypnosis techniques show up in a lot of different domains. There's neuro linguistic programming, pickup artistry, mentalism, corporate branding and messaging, political narratives and discourse. It's used across the media spectrum. And they give a different name for it in each different area that they use it, but it's all just propaganda and brainwashing. It's cult indoctrination. So the hypnotic techniques are leveraging the way your brain works under stress and the way your brain forms associations. The way your brain forms associations, I addressed that in another video about Hebbian learning. Hebbian. Hebbian learning. Where if you feel physical contact and you hear a word at the same time that you're feeling an emotion, then those three experiences get linked. And now, if someone, yourself included, does that physical contact and says the word, you will automatically start feeling the emotion again. And you'll think it's real. You'll think that's your gut telling you. No, that's someone controlling you. They can engineer your emotional response. So if you go to some like leadership empowerment seminar, they're going to tell you to rub your thighs or clap your hands when you've already worked up an emotion of positive, empowered feeling. You're not actually empowered. You just feel powerful. And now they get you to do a physical action while you recite a mantra. You tell yourself you're going to win, and you do this physical action while feeling a certain way. And then when you want to get that feeling again, you just tell yourself the words while doing the action, and it will trigger the feeling. That didn't actually make you better at business decisions. That didn't actually give you more ideas about how to solve a problem. It just makes you feel like you did. You just think you're better. And then they take your money. The seminar got your money. That's a great scam. There are so many seminar scammers who only ever made money giving seminars, telling other people how to make money. So my suggestion is you should start selling seminars where in the seminar you tell the participants, hey, the best way for you to make money is to sell seminars. Just say whatever dumb shit you want and just get people to pay you for it. Tell them it'll make them rich and you will become rich. Selling them garbage. You'll become rich just tricking dumb people. And they'll think they'll become millionaires, and they won't. But they'll go to the next seminar thinking that one's going to work, and then the next one, and they'll be self-help guru aficionados for the rest of their life. That's the best way to make money if you want to scam people. You want to figure out a quick way to get rich, sell dumb seminars. Yeah. And you better start getting on it quick. Maybe have the AI write the script for you so you can pump them out faster. Because there's so many people hopping on that bandwagon, there's not going to be a lot of room left. You better hop in on the seminar sales scam before it's out. FOMO. That's how you get their money. Give me money. So that's the tactic. They want to trick you into thinking that you've improved yourself. And then you pay them. Another one of my videos talks about how therapists are usually doing the same thing. Your life didn't actually improve. You just feel enlightened. You just feel it. And it didn't change. So the same method of control where you do a physical action and you say a mantra to yourself while you're already feeling a certain emotion, then that action and that mantra will trigger the emotion later. You can watch the dating advice lady who was a Russian spy. I was watching this video recently. She was advocating that women do some stuff for themselves when they're feeling a certain level of excitement and feeling empowered, and then to look in the mirror at themselves and tell themselves that they're beautiful and they deserve everything. That's a great way to trick someone into being really entitled. That can make poor people start practicing affluenza. Poor people will start feeling like they ought to be rich when they don't do anything. They don't do anything of value, but they suddenly think they deserve it all. That's a great way to trick people into believing they're more important than they really are. And she's using the Hebbian learning technique, physical action, mantra, while you're already feeling an emotion, so that the physical action mantra will trigger the emotion later. Same thing with pickup artists. They'll invite you to remember some wonderful memory, and then they'll touch you in a certain place and say a magic word. And they do that a few times, and then when they want to get you to do what they want, they'll touch you there and say the magic word, and suddenly you feel wonderful. And so you think this is going to be a good thing. But they're engineering your emotional reaction. So that's Hebbian learning. It's used over and over again in many different industries, placing you in a position where you associate an emotion to some external stimuli. And then they can trigger the emotional stimuli to trigger the emotion. And you think it's natural. That's how they get you to think that you actually want something when you don't. And so that's the Hebbian learning side. The other part is the stressor side. We know that there are two different ways your brain can think. There's what's called systems 1 and systems 2. Systems 1 is when you don't have a lot of time or you're stressed. It's the amygdala reaction system. Fear, flight or fight. The bad ones, the simplistic reactions. We know that whole list. So you're just reacting impulsively based on whatever stereotypes are loudest in your brain. And the stereotypes that are loudest in your brain are going to be whichever ones you saw most often. It's not about your first memory when you're a child. That's some Freudian garbage. It's the ones you see most often. So if you're constantly watching romance, comedy, drama movies where the woman is intentionally abusive and avoidant to the man, and then there's this whole back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then she eventually runs away, and then he runs after her and forces himself on her, and that's when they have the romantic kiss, happily ever after. You are training yourself for that role modeling, where when you're in a relationship, you're going to be abusing your lover, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, running away, and then you got it in your brain that he's supposed to run after you and force himself on you, and then you have a romantic kiss. When any man with self-respect is not going to run after you. And he's not going to force himself on you. You were watching too much TV. That's what happened to you. You rot your brain watching too much TV. So they put the Systems 1 reflex in you by flashing the media storyline until it becomes the normalized existence that you think reality is. You've watched so much TV instead of living life in reality that you think TV is reality. And you start imitating TV, expecting reality to play out like the show. And that's going to happen as a reflex when you're stressed. It's under stress that you're going to be operating under Systems 1. You're just going to go with whatever stereotype you've been exposed to most often. And that's in contrast to Systems 2 thinking, where you're actually pausing, withdrawing from any choice, thinking through the details, considering alternatives, looking at the real data, listening from within your own heart about what goal state you would value most, and then communicating that honestly in a dialogue, respectfully, to form an agreement together. Like a sane adult. That's how to have a healthy relationship. So they want to keep you in Systems 1. And the best way to do that is to stress you out. Let's make sure you never get enough sleep. Let's make sure your diet lacks certain nutrients. Let's make sure you are constantly being surprised and your thinking patterns are interrupted by ping, 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 ping on your phone. Let's make sure you have to jump around and go different places, constantly distracted, never completing a task. Let's make sure the demands being placed on you are weird or unnecessary or impossible, paradoxical. Because then you stress out. And that's when your higher thinking shuts down and you start acting more reflexively and impulsively based on whichever stereotype you were exposed to. And that's cult indoctrination, brainwashing. That's how propaganda works. The people who make media have been researching propaganda and the psychology of people under stress for more than 80 years. And they are using it intentionally to get you to obey them. They need to get your money, but not because they needed the money. They print money. They need to get your money because if you ever had enough of your own money, they couldn't control you anymore. So they pay you money to obey them, and then they have to take the money back. I'm pretty sure Nabokov wrote about that in his story. It's basically the same idea. They pay you money to obey them. The obedience is what they needed. But then they have to take the money back so that you'll go obey them again to get the money. They don't need the money. They need your obedience. And so the way this works with the castle of vampires, the black shirts and the red shirts, is there's black shirts, the cold ones. These are the heartless vampires. And then there's the red shirts, the vicious, bloody ones. These the passionate vampires. And then there's the people beneath them, the rubes, the victims. So the people down here, the red shirts, feel strong if they can exploit you Every time they take from you or hurt you, they say, that means I'm better than you. That means I deserve whatever I can take from you. And they feel victorious. They look down on you. The black shirts are using the exact same systems of control that the red shirts use. The red shirts use that system of control on you, and the black shirts use that system of control on the red shirts. Classic example is like a mafia or a criminal enterprise that operates out of a prison. They see who comes in for some random crime. You got some new kid on the block who got caught. He goes into the pen. He's got to pick a team. They're all the same team. They're just filtering him and assessing him. And when he gets out of prison, now the people he teamed up with are going to push him toward more and more vicious crimes for blackmail. Now they got him on a leash. And now they can give him little treats. Oh, here's what you wanted, here's what you wanted, but he's always dependent. They can get him to feel like he's the big man who's winning every time he's able to harm the people at the bottom. But he's on a leash of blackmail, and he's only getting fed treats. And it's the black shirts above him who get the big payout. So the black shirts, when they look at the people at the bottom, they see a resource. They value you. The red shirts look down on you, but the black shirts look down on the red shirts, and they value you. And so that auto-hypnosis technique with suggestion, this is what's creepy, is you watch the YouTube videos where people are showing you rapid induction, which is their terminology for hypnotizing you really fast without you even realizing that you've been hypnotized. It's really fast, and it's scary how people just fall under. And a lot of those videos where there's hypnotists who are doing rapid induction on some random bystander, they don't actually pull the person out of hypnosis at the end. You watch that video, they don't do proper up-out. The video stops. The bystander walked away happy. You think everything's over, but that bystander was actually still hypnotized. They hadn't been brought out of hypnosis. So you got to wonder what happens after the video turns off. That's a good lesson.